400 miles, countless runs, and lots of wear and tear. Is the Asics Superblast 2 still holding up? Well, today I'm giving you the real deal on how these shoes perform after the long haul, so let's dive in. Yes, hello everyone, it's Max Kelly. I'm a 1:09 half marathon runner, and today I'm sharing with you the 400 miles that I have ran in the Asics Superblast 2 and letting you know if they are worth the money that they cost. So how this review is going to work then is I'm going to share with you all the basic information about the shoe, and I'm going to let you know exactly how those 400 miles are. I'm going to speak specifically about the mileage that I've done in those shoes, the types of runs that I'm doing, the distance, the type of training, the speed work, everything that I've been doing in those shoes. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give some pros and cons as well as some good alternatives to this shoe. 400 miles is a lot of miles to run in a pair of shoes, so I'm keen to share exactly how it is that these shoes have gotten on over that distance. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So starting with the price, this shoe comes in at £200 here in the UK. Now I did have an issue trying to buy it in the UK, so I was forced to buy it abroad. This shoe cost me £227 after the exchange rate, and I did buy that out in Dubai. This shoe comes in at 281 grams, and that is a UK size 10, so on the slightly heavier side. In terms of stack height, there's 45mm in the heel, and in the forefront there's 37, which is an 8mm drop from back to front. In terms of the midsole, there's this FF Turbo Plus, which is located in the forefront. This is for energy return and responsiveness. There's FF Blast Plus Eco, that's a tongue twister, situated in the forefoot for cushioning and comfort as well. In terms of the upper, there's engineered mesh with a gusseted tongue. This supposedly helps with breathability and helps keep that foot nice and secure. In terms of the outsole, Asics grip rubber in high wear areas, offering improved traction and durability. Now that's something I'm going to cover later on in this video because that's something I've been really impressed with in terms of the outer and its durability. In terms of fit, it's true to size with a slightly narrow toe box, but overall I'll go for the size that you normally go for. Some users may prefer half size up, but me, I've had no issues whatsoever with this shoe. I've gone for the exact same size that I normally go with. In terms of its recommended use, ideally this is for daily training, longer runs and recovery sessions. Now you can of course do other sessions in this shoe, and it is more preferred for marathon training, for those long hard runs and those tempo efforts. But all round, a pretty good all-rounder shoe. We'll cover more of that later on, but a shoe that is fit for multiple purposes. I call this the holiday shoe, and I'll explain further why I call this the holiday shoe, but it really is suitable for many different runs. So we've done over 600 kilometers in this shoe, which is just over 400 miles. So how those runs worked? Now I bought these shoes on the 2nd of April. Today it's the 15th of May, so that's just over a month and a half worth of having this shoe. So over the last month, I have worn this shoe 38 separate times. So that gives me an average of nearly 17 kilometers each and every time I wear this shoe. Now in terms of what the sort of running that I've been doing in these shoes is typically I've been doing my longer runs and my tempo sessions in this shoe, but I have also done quite a lot of recovery runs in this shoe because I really want to test everything out with this. So in terms of my longer runs have been anywhere from 22 kilometers right up to 32 kilometers. In terms of the tempo and the speed work that I've been doing, these again I've been racking up anywhere between 20 to 25 kilometers, 30 to 35 minutes of specific tempo work. Now for me, my tempo work is about 3:15 per kilometer, and most of this, to be honest with you, has been done on grass, which is something that's really good about this shoe. It copes really well on the grassy surfaces. But I've also been running a lot of my reps on the track in this shoe as well, and I have been tracking paces of 250 per kilometer. So we've tested it right the way through slow, gentle, easy recovery runs right to my top end speed, giving it a proper good test. So the very first run that I did was out in Dubai, and I did manage to run the Palm. It was quite a picturesque run for the very first run I did. Now that was an easy run, and the shoes of course feel absolutely amazing. So the hardest run that I've done in this shoe was my track session. I was doing 500 meters around 2 minutes per 50 pace with 30 seconds rest. We did 10 reps of that in this shoe, and to be honest with you, this shoe is certainly not made for that kind of session. I did find that I could not get up to that top end speed. The volume of session wasn't an issue. We ended up running over 5 kilometers on the track, which is quite a good amount to do for a track session, and I did feel that session volume wise was absolutely fine. It was just finding myself getting up to that top end speed. It took a little bit more time. With the 45mm of stack in the back, it really isn't built for quick turnover leg speed, but it does look after your legs really well, which is a really good thing about this shoe. So in terms of long run, this is where this shoe really does come into its own. Previously, I was using a carbon plated shoe for my longer runs. When I was doing anywhere from 25 up to 32 kilometers, I put a carbon plated shoe on because I just felt that would be the easiest on my legs. I'd use something like an Adidas Prime Strong X2, or I'd even use something like a Vaporfly or an Alphafly. But since actually getting hold of the Superblast 2, it's really allowed me to enjoy my longer runs a lot more and feel almost less guilty, because I don't think I should be using a carbon plated shoe over that longer distance. The FF Turbo Plus foam really does support you over those longer distance, and I almost find towards the middle part, towards the end of the run, is when I feel at my best. It really does help you with your cadence and your stride, and it just keeps you a nice smooth rhythm all along. It's not an aggressive shoe at all. By no means is it a soft shoe either. In terms of the tempo sessions then with this shoe, I'm still using this shoe on my Tuesday evening sessions, and like I said, I can rack anywhere from 20 to 25 kilometers, and we're doing a lot of speed work, a lot of threshold work in there. For me, my threshold pace is 3:15 to 3:17, and we're probably doing up to 30 minutes worth within a session of that, and this shoe has absolutely no issue with that pace for me. The entire session is done on grass as well, and there are a few undulations on the grass track that we do it on. Now, one of the reasons why it copes so well with that is because of the durability on the bottom and the grip that you get on the bottom of this shoe. Now, I've never actually owned a pair of Asics before, but since moving to Asics for my sessions, I found the grip on the bottom of this shoe is incredible. Now, we do run a lot of our sessions either in the evenings when the dew starts to build on the grass, or if I do a morning session as well, and it can be quite slippy, especially on the grass sections where there are slopes. But this shoe really has no issue whatsoever in cornering and staying grippy. So that's a massive benefit to using this shoe. The grip is absolutely awesome. So in terms of its physical appearance then, the sole of the shoe is looking really good. There are no little hitchhikers stuck in the shoe. There's almost no room for them to be stuck in the shoe because they are quite shallow, the grooves. They're still all intact. There's no visual sign of damage whatsoever. In terms of responsiveness of the foam, that FF Turbo, I'd say they've lost a slight little bit of pop in there, but that's to be expected. But all in all, they are still pretty good. And I wouldn't say there was a notable difference between wearing these and when I first wore them. Don't get me wrong, when you spend over £200, you are expecting a shoe to last, but nonetheless, I've still been impressed with how long they've lasted. Now, in terms of the heel as well, there's no visual signs of any deterioration at all. There's a slight mark on the back of one of my heels. In terms of how they still feel relatively responsive, and I don't feel like anytime soon I'll be taking them out of the rotation or looking to replace them. I've been really impressed with how long they've lasted, and I think that really is one of the features about this shoe. But all in all, the performance of this shoe so far, in terms of the time that it's been on my feet, has been absolutely exceptional. Let's start positively. In terms of the pros, now there are so many pros you can have with this shoe. The first one though is I like to call this one the holiday shoe. Now I know Ben Parks also spoke about this, but it's the holiday shoe for me because I do feel like it's the one shoe that you could take on holiday with you, and you've got that suitcase and you don't want to pack it full of running clothes. You can do your tempo and your speed work, but you can also do some lighter recovery runs, or you can do a longer run. It really is the most versatile shoe that I do own. Another positive of the shoe is the colorways. I really like the choice of colorways you get. There's this one, there's the Paris Sky one, and there's various other ones on the website, and they've done a really good job of keeping it simple. I think so many shoe brands and so many companies overcomplicate colorways. They've kept it simple, and I think that's really good. A third thing that I love about this shoe is the FF Turbo Plus foam. The foam really does last a long time, and when you are paying a lot of money for a shoe, you do want it to last a long time. The response you get out of the foam is electric, and it does allow you to pick up the pace as well as enjoying an easier ride, and I think that's something that I've really struggled to find a shoe that allows you to flick between those two paces but not feel like you have to put on a separate pair of shoes just to enjoy those paces. Another pro of this shoe is, like I mentioned earlier, its ability to corner well and run well in wet conditions. Now, I've never worn a pair of Asics before, and I don't know what the history of Asics running shoes are, but I've got to say the grip on this shoe really is exceptional. When you are running at those faster reps and you are a little bit nervous about running downhill or into corners, you really don't have to worry about that in this shoe because it does give you that support and grip and the confidence, most importantly, that you need to corner well. The first negative I've got is actually the height of the stack. Now, as we know, the legal limit for a stack height is 40 millimeters. So that puts the Asics Superblast in the illegal category. Unfortunately, that means you technically can't use this to use in a race. I just think they could have got away with making that stack height that 5 mil shorter so you can race it. I know you would compromise in terms of the ability of the shoe, but by doing that, it would allow you to then use that shoe in a race. It's a little bit of a nitpick from me, but it is such a shame that such a good shoe cannot be used in a race. Now, the second negative I've got with this shoe is its current availability. At the time I went to purchase it in the UK, it was unavailable. I'm unsure if it is back in stock now, but I had to go out to Dubai, not specifically to buy this shoe, but I was in Dubai and I managed to pick it up out there. Unfortunately, it just isn't available in this country, and there was only one colorway available. It was okay, the colorway, but it would have been nice to have a selection. Now, I did have to pay over £200, which moves me nicely on to the third negative. Don't get me wrong, if it does last over 900 miles, then if you think about how much it costs per mile, it probably does work out to be okay in the end. But modern shoes are getting extortionate, and I don't like having to spend that amount of money on a shoe. But the fact that I've done so many miles in does justify it a little bit. So in terms of comparison then, how the Asics Superblast 2 compares to other shoes in its competition. Well, let's start with the Asics Blast 5. Now, the Blast 5 is a daily trainer designed for a soft, bouncy ride. It's best for daily runs, long runs, and even some tempo work, of course, compared to the Superblast, which is more of a premium max cushion super trainer, which is designed for long distance recovery runs, and as we spoke about, some tempo runs as well. In terms of the cushioning and the midsole, the Blast also uses the FF Blast Plus foam, and I'd say the Blast 5 offers a versatile ride. It's more suitable for various paces and distance, but it's more of a recovery shoe and an enjoyable shoe. It's less about performance, but more about running easier miles. I would choose the Blast 5 if you're looking for a soft, bouncy ride that's more suitable for a variety of runs that of course includes easy runs and the lighter tempo work. And I'd opt for the Superblast 2 if you prioritize a responsive, stable ride for longer distance running and you're in training for the marathon or the half marathon and you're looking to do those longer tempo reps. Both shoes are absolutely excellent. I do really enjoy the Blast as well, but for me, the Superblast is a shoe that I've just had so much fun with over the last month, and I've never actually worn a shoe for that amount of time in such a short period. Interestingly enough as well, when I type into ChatGPT rivals of the Asics Superblast 2, it does say the first option is the Nike Zoom X Invincible Run 3. Now, I did have a pair of those and I have actually just sold those on Vinted because I simply wasn't getting any use out of that shoe at all. I found that shoe to be so one-dimensional and it offered very little other than recovery runs. I didn't really enjoy my light and easy runs because of the weight of that shoe. There was a huge stack in them and I found them so clunky and I simply just didn't enjoy them. So for me, that doesn't come under as a rival whatsoever. ChatGPT is also saying that another rival of this shoe is the Adidas Prime X Strung 2. Now, that is an absolute monster of a shoe. There's 2 carbon plates in there and 50 millimeters of stack height. And for me, that's a shoe as well that is purely for those tempo reps and those marathon-esque workouts. And with the 2 plates in there, I'd say that is an indirect competitor for the Superblast 2. It's trying to achieve something entirely different. It's a lot more for race pace specific work on those harder workouts when you're doing those big 100-mile weeks. All in all, the Asics Superblast 2 is an absolutely incredible shoe. I've done over 600 kilometers in this shoe and I don't plan on stopping there anytime soon. The most impressive aspect of this shoe is its versatility. The fact that I can put it on for a tempo session or a longer run, as well as put them on for an easy recovery shoe, does make this shoe really special. We've also spoke about a few negatives with the shoe, about the availability and the price of the overall shoe. But all in all, it's a shoe that's in my rotation. I say it's in my rotation, it pretty much is my shoe rotation. And I certainly will be buying this shoe once again, once I actually come to the end of its life cycle. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any comments about the Asics Superblast 2, leave them down below. Or if you think you've got a better shoe as a rival, let me know. Thank you for tuning in and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.